So let's dive in and get ourselves a copy of Unity. Then I will talk about how it fits in your range of game development programs. So let's start with a Google search for Get Unity, or download Unity would maybe better. And then there's a specific URL you're looking for, which is the download archive. You can see it at the bottom of my screen there. And I'll click on it. unity3d.com/getunity/download/archive. Now, if for any reason you have trouble finding that or the URL changes, just look for Unity Download Archive on Google. And we want version 4.x. Now, just get the latest version of 4.x. As long as you're on 4.6.3 or newer, then you'll be absolutely fine. And then choose your platform. In this case, it's Windows. Most you'll be on Windows. Very similar process on Mac. And you click Unity Editor there. So just take a look at the screen. You can see the URL, where you click, and Unity Editor. As I say, if what you see on the screen is later than this, no problem, just get the latest one, as long as it's 4.6 point something. Okay, cool. So you click that and the download starts, of course. Now this is going to take ages. It's going to take like an hour to download. So while that's downloading, I just want to talk you through a few other things. Firstly, I want to explain that the Unity is not to be used in isolation. What you're downloading is the Unity Editor, but you will also be downloading a integrated development environment, an IDE. Now, in the case of Unity 4.6, that's something called MonoDevelop, which is a IDE that is bundled with Unity 4.6. Here it is. Okay, and on the Mac, you will also be using MonoDevelop in Unity 5 at the moment, but on the PC, when we go to Unity 5, you'll be using something you may have heard of called Visual Studio. Now, for the level of coding that we're doing, at least in the early part of the course, it makes very little difference whether you're on MonoDevelop or Visual Studio. But for Unity 4.6, we will be using MonoDevelop. And MonoDevelop is where you're going to be writing your code. So we've already got two programs. We've got Unity for manipulating all our game objects and everything, and it's where we'll spend most of our time. But we'll spend a fair amount of our time in this IDE, Integrated Development Environment, which is, as I say, MonoDevelop or Visual Studio. There are also other things that you're going to need longer term. We have a course on Blender, and Blender is a 3D asset creation tool. This is a free tool that lets you make even full movie quality 3D effects. So if you want to do anything more complex than a simple cube or sphere, you're going to need something like Blender. There's also programs like GIMP.org, which is a free Photoshop clone. I'm mentioning only free programs because I want to make this as accessible to everybody as possible. And also for sound, you're going to need something like Audacity for editing and changing sound. So Unity doesn't sit on its own. It sits in an ecosystem of programs. And what you're downloading is going to be two things: Unity's editor and a integrated development environment. In this case, with Unity 4.6, it's going to be MonoDevelop. So let's let that download in the background. And in the next lecture, I'm going to be helping you to know how to ask good questions. And it's going to be my co-instructor, Brice, talking you through that. So grab yourself a cup of tea, take some notes, and get ready for Brice to give you a really, really good heads up on how to ask good questions in the course.